All right, let's take a look at pages 49 to 51 in our 4th edition, Physical Science 1109. And this is talking about significant figures. And I want to strongly urge you, don't just dive for whatever will help me solve the problems, but read through everything. This is, on page 49, this is a very good explanation of the difference between accuracy and precision, okay? And that'll really help you if you understand it. Don't just try to fill in blanks, try to understand what it's talking about. Especially down here where it's talking about Pudge, Sandy's, Chrissy's, and Ace's measurements, and how are they able to carry out measurements to so many decimal places. And so it shows us here on page 50 the type of instrument that they had and how it was marked off. And one of the rules of thumb is that you can measure to exactly how your instrument is marked off, and then you can guess just by using your eyeball. You can try to figure out one more digit. So for instance, down here, Pudge, his instrument has no markings except at 1 meter and 2 meters. Okay, so that's not very accurate. But he can guess, oh, I think that's about 1/3 of the way, so I'm going to say it's 2.3 meters, okay? And then Sandy's is marked off in tens, so she can know that it's somewhere between 30 and 40, and so she can guess, well, I think it's closer to not quite halfway, but maybe 34. So it's measured off into one digit that they're very certain of because the instrument shows it, and then one digit that is uncertain or it's being guessed. And that's as far as you can go, all right? It's how accurate, or how precise, I should say, how precise is your measuring device, all right? So then when we report, and this is particularly important with measurements, when we report measurements, we can't just, because the calculator gives us a bunch of digits, put them all in the answer. We are limited to how precise is our measuring instrument, okay? Now where it gets tricky is when we have zeros, okay? So several years back, somebody taught me this. I thought it was really helpful. I've used it for many, many years with my students, and I think it'll help you, all right? This is supposed to represent the United States, the left coast of California, New England and Maine up here. Down here is Florida, and then the Gulf of America, right? Gulf of America, Texas. Anyways, you get the idea. So my point is, this is the Atlantic Ocean, and over here is the Pacific Ocean. Remember, I grew up in Hawaii, so I grew up way out here in the Pacific Ocean. So let's talk about zeros. Some numbers have the zeros all wedged between non-zero or other digits, okay, between 1 and 9. So here's a 3, that's non-zero. Here's a 5, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros in between. So I just count them all up, and I would say I have 6 sig-digs, all right, 6 significant digits. Now let's take a look at this next number. I have a bunch of zeros. There's a decimal there. How many significant figures is it? Is it 4? Is it 5? Is it 2? Well, here's the trick. If we have zeros that are unprotected, we pretend like they are balloons. Okay, you got it? Picture them as balloons. All right, so I'll put a little... And then we're going to pretend that an arrow is coming from the Atlantic Ocean and an arrow is coming from the Pacific Ocean. If there is a decimal present, okay, see the P means the decimal is present, then when the arrow comes, it goes pop, pop, pop. And those balloons pop because the arrow came from the Pacific, okay? So that means, in this case, I would say I only have 2 significant digits, 2 sig-digs. Okay, let's look at this number, 57000. The decimal is not present. It is absent. If it's absent, okay, the decimal is absent, then the arrow comes in from the Atlantic Ocean and it goes pop, pop, pop. And once again, I have 2 significant digits. Okay? Now the difference, and the page talks about this, is this one here, there's no decimal present. However, there is a line over top of one of these zeros. Okay, it could be anywhere. In fact, I'm going to erase it and just move it over here for the fun of it. Okay, that 0 means that 0 is like a lead balloon underneath there. It is protected and the arrow cannot pop that balloon and it gets stuck and it can't go any further. So these zeros are all protected and the lead balloon 0 is protected. Okay, so there's no decimal, so it's absent. So here comes the arrow from the Atlantic, pop, pop, and it gets stuck. So I would say I have 1, 2, 3, 4, in this case, 5 significant digits. Does that make sense? Okay, hopefully that will help you, because on page 51, they review the rules real quick, and then they have you evaluate all of these numbers to figure out how many significant digits. So on all of those that have zeros, like, woo, look at number 12, 16, 18, think about this diagram, this picture, and whether the decimal is absent or present, and then where the arrow is coming from. All right. We have another very important lesson we need to talk about, and we'll do that in the next video, doing operations with significant figures.